you want to pick those type of hands. But if you want to jam, maybe having a king wouldn't be terrible. Something like king queen to block ace queen and ace king. But and he don't lead the river. That's population definitely don't balance nuts enough into check raise. I guess the recreational, you can basically do what you want. I'm a little bit expecting him to be more wide, like with the wider range. And here on the turn, flush completing turns when you are blind against blinds are very good for the imposition player, as he has more suited combos. So we like to check a lot on the turn where it comes with a flush. Smaller sizing, we have a pair, we have the very, very bad get shot, but we can still continue. So he called 1/3 and bet 1/3 on the turn. I would be actually quite happy to hero call on the river versus some reasonable sizing. And also there is a thing to mention, like we were 33 big blinds deep, and if you're out of the position versus this type of short stack, you can see bet way more often because the SPR is way lower. So you can be like more aggressive out of the position if the SPR is lower, because it's not going to be that hard to play. But if you are like 200 big blinds deep, for instance, out of the position, you want to play way more passively. And vice versa, if you are in position, then you can play way more aggressive. Greetings from Slovakia, Sevas. Miloško. Greetings from Slovakia. Sevas, my friend. I hope it's you, Peťo. That's my friend from Slovakia. So here we have a 4-bet pot. We are gonna definitely step this flop. Not gonna use too much big bets, though. His check is interesting, but I like it. I mean, like the 8-7 are good for us. I don't think we ever jam here with 8s, guys. I don't see a reason. Like if he has a kings, aces, and ace queen, they're gonna just get it in on any run out, basically. Like even if it's a 6 on the turn, he's gonna shove with kings and aces. But if he has something like king jack off with 1 heart, or ace jack off, okay, he has ace queen, but he's never gonna fold ace queen there. Like maybe the turn is 9 of hearts potentially, but that's 1 card out of the wall deck. But it's more about the hands that he has. Like if he has ace king with the 1 heart, some ace jack with the 1 heart, those hands are insta folding if we jam. We can jam some more like vulnerable hands. Maybe if we had like 8-7 suited that wants more protection. But like if we had a set, like typically are not fast playing set in 4-bet pots. This seems like recreational. Mr. Eric guy from Germany, not from Slovakia, but we're just gonna call him. Just this queen is great for him, great, and we're just gonna fold. All right, so far dominating this pool feels pretty good. Obviously, like if you hit 8 versus ace queen, it's easy to crash the stakes. But so here, if you're in position, you can basically see by the range on most textures. If they're like 10 high or higher, and if they're like 9 high and lower, you start to be more polar, because you have a lot of hands like ace king, ace queen, king queen that basically are only 2 overs, and his range is condensed about a lot of pocket pairs. So now it's close. I like to bet with my hand. I like to have hearts. Like if he ever has like hands like a6, ace5, ace3, we block those two pairs. And if he raises, this is one of the spots where I'm gonna tell you guys, you can overfold. You can overfold. Like, by the way, this tag is a net, but so imagine like what type of hands we need to fold here. We need to fold here some ace queen, maybe some ace jack, in order for him to make a profitable bluff. And his bluffs, I mean, needs to come from flush draws and some like 5-4 suited, 6-7 suited. So we are having unprotected range, and he's check raising against that in the tighter formation, like hijack against DOTG free bet. So versus 55%, I'm just gonna call. We're also like a little bit deeper. I wouldn't mind the raise. Having the king of diamonds is okay, but maybe I would like to have the king queen to raise with. It's kind of close. It's double flush draw, so we have like more hands to continue with, so we don't need to continue with that many of them. But this is, I think, a call. You have like a lot of king x top pairs that don't have a get shot, and it's better to have like king jack than jack 10 or queen 10, as we block like ace king off, that he's going to have way more often than ace 10 off, for instance. And he's a recreational player, so I might be looking for a hero call here on the river if he bets something like until the pot. Yes, he bets like all like 55% during like across all the streets, so we're gonna hero call here, like 2 missed flush draws. Well, he had the nuts, but almost the nuts, but that's fine. What do you think about fish pot bets generally strong? Yes, I think that they tend to be stronger. Like, I think it's quite simple explanation for that. You don't need to have any MDA. You can see that like when you play hundreds or thousands of hands against fishes that I think like most of you have played so far. 9-6 deuce is a board where we want to play a very polar big bets or check. Even solver likes to go like very, very big, like 2x the pot. Although with king 6 we are just gonna check. And this is I wonder if we can raise here sometimes, guys. I rolled quite low, but I'm gonna play like a little bit more simplified. Checking on a 5. I think the 5 is a very good card for him. Like pocket 5, some 4-3, 7-8, 8-5, 7-5, and we have like hands like king queen, king jack, king 10 that didn't get there, but we need to call it this once. And so here on the flop, as I said, I'm gonna play like a little bit more simplified and check raise hands like 9-8 suited, check 9 suited if I have here some flush draws and those type of hands. Even though some 5-4 can get there, I would preferably like to have diamonds. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised if this hand would get there some of the time. Versus 2.2, it's close. I don't mind calling. Don't have sense for 2.2, but since we're deeper, I think this can be actually a fold. Don't know, this guy is from Brazil, so potentially could be some guy from our team. I don't know those nicknames. Here on this turn, I'm gonna play big bet or check. This hand will just check. Especially clubs are not good. And this thing, guys, is like a great river to barrel. But again, clubs, I don't think they are that great. So I'm gonna use just the smaller bet. But I think I'm still wants to bluff here. Good luck, Starkey. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter. Hope I can make some money playing those sticks and then just go on a beer with you when I get back to Slovakia. I'm gonna fold 6s. Could be a free bet. So I felt the net raise on the turn from the flop. Sorry, I didn't get a point. What were you trying to say? Felt the net raise on the turn from the flop. So he's a recreational. I don't mind just free betting a little bit wider range. Because they are playing weaker, so you can play basically more hands against them, especially when you have the position, right? Here I like to squeeze to isolate the weaker player, and again, like, this is a board where you can bet every single hand in your range, but always for smaller sizing. Should be good. He raises, we have pure fold. And this is the type of board where you don't benefit much from betting small. However, we are playing against the recreational player, guys. Just keep in mind, like, versus recreational, you can play almost always your hand. This is a board where a lot of hands from your range wants to bet. You can simplify and bet range here versus a weaker player. And I'm gonna check this back. Our hand really wants to, like, really doesn't want to face a river, turn check raise to get, like, our equity denied. And on the river, no, I mean, we have a pure fold. Like, when you think about it, most of his natural bluffs are coming from missed flush draws. So I think you can sometimes attack like fishes when they go like half pot, but not with hands that are pure folds in theory. Oh, let me just put this light so that you can see me more clearly. And on the turn, like, the decision is how much you think the recreational will check raise you. And I think, like, on this turn, like, having some 9s, 10s, some 8-7, 8-6, pocket 6s, 7s, like, it's kind of tempting to just put the money into the pot, you know, and just, like, being scared of facing a river overcard or whatnot. And also, one thing here, if we bet this type of hand, it's quite likely that we are running against, like, the higher flush draw on the turn. So we have also, like, a reversed implied odds. You can simplify and bet range here. This is the type of board when you can also bet big or having a checking range, but for the sake of simplification, betting small with or range. Same here, you can bet your range for the small sizing. GTO Wizard. I think we're going to have the giveaway at the end of the stream, where, yes, you tab into the chat GTO Wizard. On this queen, we should continue barreling with a lot of our range. And this is definitely the part of that. The sizing, it's going to be quite big. Especially with this type of hand, right? Like, we're not gonna bet too many ace, queen, king, queen, jack type of hands, but we have here, like, ace, jack of queens, kings, king, queen, pocket hands. So we're quite polar. This sort of sucks. Like, we get our equity denied. But that's what it is. I mean, he's not gonna jam too many hands on this turn. Jedu. Pozdravujem na Slovensko. Just saying in my language, greetings, Slovakia, jedu. So happy that you guys came here to support. There's low suited connectors, don't really get too much into the free betting range, and now with pocket aces, we're quite deep, but we are still gonna raise here for value. There are hands that like 5-4, 6-5, pocket eights, 7x that will pay us, like pay the bet sizing right now, but if the overcard comes, they might decide to just fold. And now we just jam. I have a jam here, ace king off. I don't know, as a stack depth, maybe we can jam also pocket kings, but typically how the spot works is that we jam their ace king off and pocket kings at some frequency, and then use the normal sizing with hands like aces, ace king suited, some bluffs as ace queen off, ace 10 suited, ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited. Queen 10 5 two-tone is a board where you should typically just bet big or check, but again, if you bet small as a range bet, it's definitely not going to be a huge mistake. His check back range contains a lot of 10x if he decides to play a check back range, so I'm gonna just check. And well, we can bet small here, but with this type of hand, but in general, like playing something around like small overbet or check is totally reasonable. Always trying to mark the players that plays with the shorter stack. So just calling the turn. I mean, I think raising makes sense as well, but what is this? We have the king. Having the 5 is also pretty good. I think I'm gonna call here. And we're all low here, so I'm gonna call. I think pocket 9s are okay call. This 4-bet size is a little bit bigger, so I need to be careful with that. But I just feel like that he has a lot of bluff to choose from. If it pairs, he's not gonna bluff an ace, he's not gonna bluff a king, so we are basically having a bluff catcher, not losing to any of his bluffs, and still can win a lot of the time. Here's 1/3. What's the sizing for a jam? It's about 3/4. I'm gonna use the 4-bet. I like to raise here, but I don't want to use the min raise, but I don't want to use the jam size. I want to use something in between. Because if I jam here, we have to call this off. If he has kings or queens, he has it, but the reason that I don't want to use like the all-in sizing is that then I am just making his defense more easy. He needs 30% to call, 30% equity. So if he has like ace queen or some king queen type of hands, they're gonna have more easier time to fold. But if I make it like that, I'm putting them in a more like indifferent spot. And if I just go for the min raise, he can call with any two basically. Maybe some ace 5 of hearts he has to fold. I'm gonna check raise here. We had similar board, but not the same. This is the check raise that you want to use go for the bigger sizing. But since we are not that deep, and he went for the half pot, we are not gonna use such a huge sizing. And queen jack is nice because if you hit a 10, you have basically the nuts. and if he decides to jam, it's not a disaster for you. Like, you can easily fold. You guys have the best young basketball player. Well, I'm not a big fan of basketball, so sorry, I can't really just tell you more about that. Well, I think this is a Slovenian player, if I'm not mistaken, like based on the name. But I don't know. Feels like. So here, I think I'm just like 4-betting and getting it in. He's a Serbian, I think, my friend. Oh, Serbian, actually. Well, actually it's like Slovenian because people are just like exchanging like Slovakia and Slovenia, but apparently could be also Slovenian as well. So here on the flop, I'm going for like a little bit trickier sizing, but I think it's a very good one and applies a lot of pressure. Now I'm gonna play quite polar. So if you bet here 1/4 and he has here 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, he's gonna insta fold. But okay, now we have some tricky play. I don't believe him too much, but I don't think that he's spewing it that off. And almost timed out. Almost. Just gets carried because I just want to play this hand. I don't want to just make the fold. Just give up here with the flush draw. Not great blockers. If he's calling something, it's just okay. Let's just call it off. Ace-10 suited. Yes, I mean, like, you have to raise a lot if I bet like if I bet like 10% on the flop. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's okay. I would probably just call versus my free bet on the flop, but yes. So this can be like a little bit trickier and like difficult, but this is like a very important part. Like, when you start to implement a strategy, like a new strategy, by betting 10% on the flop, you need to make sure that you understand what's going on if he raises, because that's going to happen very, very often. And if he raises, especially for a smaller size, you're gonna free bet a lot of your hands, because otherwise what would happen, like what would be the counter strategy, is that you would let him realize a lot of like free equity there, like if you just min raise. If he just min raise you and you only call, like he can do that with flash draws, with some gachas and whatnot, and he always get like a free turn, not mentioning that he can also check back the turn, so he see basically turn and river for only the min raise sizing that he did. So that's why you need to have those free bets, but we don't want to go too big because the SPR is pretty low, and that's basically that. We're also having some more naked-ish bluff, like some queen jack off, we can go for it. So I don't think calling 9s there is profitable to the 4-bet versus MP. This king is basically bottom of his range. Okay, so what do you think, how much equity we have versus a range that has ace-king and kings plus? Because I think, personally, that we have the equity to call. Even though like we're out of the position, so it's harder to realize the equity, but you can play, it's quite easy to play if you have like a queen, king high, ace high board, you're just gonna fold. If you have the lower board, you're just gonna get it in. So it's not like difficult to play. And if I'm gonna, don't wanna check my ranges right now because I'm playing, but if I would check my ranges, I would be quite sure it gets there some calls for sure. Like 9s are a better call than hands like queen jack suited, I think, jack 10 suited. Some ace queen off, stuff like that. And he's also, guys, he's going to have some bluffs. He's going to have sometimes like ace queen off, ace 5 suited. So I mean, maybe at NL50 you can get away with folding. But if you play like in a way that on queen high boards and lower, he has a good read on the situation. I don't know to what situation you were talking, but if you can like elaborate a little bit, please. But so yes, here you want to have some free bets. Mato. You definitely like want to have free bets and this type of spot when you start to bet 10%, but I like to bet small on those textures, and I definitely like recommend for you to, like, especially on this ace king 6, as I said, like the smaller bet size doesn't really benefit. The 1/4 size, I mean, it's still good, but like he's going to have way easier defense versus the 1/4. And so here just betting range to simplify, and now we are gonna play big bet or check with 6-5. I think checking is the only play in my opinion. So now we are gonna we're gonna play one sizing. It's going to be let's play a big bet or check here, guys. You can play a small bet that you add some king 10, queens, check stands, but I would say on the double flush draws you are more used to it. Some check raises wouldn't be terrible, but I like mostly to just call here and check raise some ace queen, king queen, 7-6 type of hands. And now on the river, I kinda like to use the small sizing. We are gonna use it with some jacks, queen stands, so just make sure that we also have some nuts in the range, and we don't want to bet big, because if we bet big we want to get calls by kings, but we double block the king, so that's why. And he had pocket 5s, no, pocket 6s,